Hi, I'm Francis from SDS class of section 25, and I'm gonna talk about COVID-19 pandemic and how the Philippines is coping up with it, or does it actually? So for the brief origin, the COVID-19, formerly known as novel coronavirus, originated in Wuhan, China. There were no definite or factual news yet about its origin, but the rumors were about the people in Wuhan eating bats or the Chinese government intentionally making them to spread it worldwide and perform their famous death trap. But those were all just rumors. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the facts that we have been witnessing in the Philippines. So when the first local transmission happened, the Filipino people were very quick to react. PPEs like face masks, face shields were very quick to be sold out. People did hoard products and they did panic buying. But the government's reaction was otherwise. At first, Filipinos demanded for international flight travel ban, but the government rejected them. They told the people that there's no need to be hysterical, that the virus will just die a natural death, that it would be unfair to China, and there is no need for travel ban because we just need to boost our immune system. And with that, I can say that while I agree that the COVID-19 has disrupted the normal lives that we had, the COVID-19 also exposed the broken system. The system I am talking about is specific on the Philippine government. It has been exposed when the people, like what I have said, demanded for international travel ban flights. But when the government rejected them, they actually sacrificed the safety of their people just because they think it's unfair for China. Well, to shorten the long narrative of the government's incompetence, they actually took 1 month before reacting to the actual events that are happening in the country. And their reaction was still lacking and thus disappointing. Their plan was, and they did actually put the whole country on lockdown without any objective plan on flattening the curve. Within those months of being on ECQ, there were more mass arrests or people arrested than people tested for the virus. So while on ECQ, people had or did protests on social media about the incompetence of the government. But still, what happened was the NBI tracing those people sharing their sentiments about the government online instead of what the people demand to contact trace those people who have been in contact with the infected patients. And then the people's demand for mass testing um, became extremely highlighted because people have seen that the government was acting very sloppy and they were just sleeping on everything that is happening. But what the government responded to the demand for mass testing was there was no enough fund. When the people actually know that the government was granted for his special powers, he was also granted with 275 billion pesos, and the Philippines actually took loan from the World Bank with $500 million and also had $200 million from the ADB. So that was very illogical to say that the government is lacking funds for mass testing. So they said that the private sectors are up to it, and it would just be dependent on them if they would voluntarily fund the mass testing for the people. But when we will go back to the narrative that the government actually care more for the Chinese than for its own people, because the government is actually conducting mass testing on the Pogo workers every 14 days, when it was very hard for the Filipinos to have been tested for free and be accommodated in the hospitals. So that just proves that the government is actually far from the reality that it was actually Filipinos, their people who are in need of them. But what the government did was to make irrelevant actions and decisions like shutting down the ABS-CBN, and now they're endorsing and promoting charter change online. So I could say that if there is something that we should be thankful about, but I do not mean to wish uh, wish bad for the people or be thankful for having this virus or this pandemic. It is just that if there is something that we should be somehow thankful, it would be because of the virus exposing the system. It is very sad that it took lives and this chaos for some people to be aware that the government is lying and sleeping on them. But another also would be science and the health workers or the health system has been more appreciated and been more given focus on that some politicians and people are proposing for increase of their salary and more health facilities. With all that being said, it is not as if I am blaming or we are blaming everything in the government. Of course, people have to take part of their roles, which we did. For 2 months, we have stayed at home and followed the rules of the ECQ. But there were no mass testing during those times. So now we are again asking for them and hopefully to be heard. So if there's a question that I want to ask the admin if given the chance, I would very much like to ask them, are you really with us?